Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Human. I'm the host, Lara Gebka, and today we have Anastas Manojlovski, who is the APAC Director at WhiteFox.cloud, which is an Australian software development company that excels in providing high-performing remote software development teams for startups and scale-ups. With a rich background in solution architecture and technical sales, Anastas has been instrumental in driving growth and delivering innovative solutions across the tech sector. Before his current role, he played a pivotal part in transforming Whisper from a startup to a publicly listed company. He is passionate about building strong client relationships, tackling complex technical challenges, and fostering collaborative team environments. And outside of his personal, he enjoys spending time with his family of 3 boys and a beagle, Maya. Welcome, Anastas. Maya?
Maya. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. How old is Maya?
She's 2 years old, and I would say she's very cheeky, borderline devil incarnate. So, yeah, very full
toddler
household.
face.
Yep.
Yeah, very much. So thank you for coming on today's show. I'm really excited to learn about your journey. And so to kick us off, I thought we could start back in the beginning. Can you introduce me to yourself as a child? What kind of kid were you and what did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was always into technology. One of my first memories was I actually really wanted to be an astronaut. But that very quickly changed when I saw the Challenger explosion on TV when I was about 4 or 5. So I very quickly changed my mind. But after that, I really got into computers. It all started when I had a friend of mine who had a Commodore 64, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, playing all those video games. And I begged my parents for Christmas to get me a Commodore 64. And instead, they ended up getting me a full-blown PC, a 286. So then, basically, I felt obligated to learn how to use it. And that's when my love for technology and computers really took off. But yeah, it hasn't stopped since then.
Great. Were you one of the first of your friendship group to have a PC?
Yes. And that quickly developed. I influenced a lot of other people to get their own PC. And at that stage, technology was really ramping up. The home PC kind of exploded everywhere. And we all had our own PCs. We were all sharing games and talking about how we played together. And that rapidly increased once the internet was came on the scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool.
So you were in technical sales from a young age then, just not getting the rewards.
Yeah, you could always say that. You could always say that I was influencing people, and yeah, for sure.
There you go. How interesting. So I guess thinking about your career progression from those days to now, can you describe a pivotal moment that has significantly influenced your professional career?
Yeah, for sure. So early in my career, I was obviously engineer by background. I worked a lot with telecommunications. I slowly saw that industry kind of tapering down and the software side tapering up. And in my role, I actually wanted to move into software. So I always felt like that was a vastly greater industry and I could see the future trajectory of it ramping up. So I was always an engineer that was inwardly focused in companies. So I was working on tech and deep in the technical trenches, working internally in the company. And I moved slowly into a market-focused role in sales. So initially, my world revolved about solving internal problems and perfecting the internal products. And then, as I slowly kind of expanded my horizons, I discovered pre-sales, which was a bit of a blend of technical expertise and sales acumen, which I really loved. It was like opening a door, kind of facing the outside world, engaging with customers and the market and understanding market trends and where the future was coming from. So it was quite thrilling to be able to connect, internal solutions to real world solutions and problems. And then once I kind of discovered that, I was hooked. It was a game changer and I never looked back. So that was kind of the most pivotal moment, I would say, for sure.
Yeah. And that kind of blends really nicely into my next question, which was how did you find transitioning from that technical engineer space position to more of the market focused sales role? And how did it change your overall perspective of your career and the industry that you're working in?
Yeah, for sure. So early on in my career, again, internally focused, very tech heavy. It was more like sit down, understand the technology, and being able to develop the next phase on the road, focusing again specifically on the tech. So one of the biggest challenges moving into that outward facing, market facing role is, building that resilience, dealing with market conditions, understanding tough customer problems, which not require just technical solutions, but having the ability to understand the audience, from your tech savvy engineers through to executives, understanding their business decision process and understanding how our solutions fit their problems. And essentially the way I overcome those challenges was to kind of put myself in the mindset of the customer and keep asking yourself, what is the most important thing to them? Putting yourself in the shoes of the customer and being empathetic to their problems, because it's one thing seeing the market and understanding the market problems. It's different seeing the individual challenges from companies and solving them. So this approach kind of helped me address, their immediate concerns, but also position me as I like to use the term trusted technical advisor, because you're there to solve their problems, right? And ultimately develop a relationship to being a trusted technical advisor. So building these strong relationships with customers and the ultimate goal, right? That's kind of the ultimate goal. Being able to teach me that resilience and not just developing technical skills, but to be able to develop solutions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what would you say some of the biggest challenges that you've faced throughout your career would be?
Yeah. I've had lots of different challenges. Again, transitioning from that internally facing role and externally facing role, being able to develop your sales acumen was one big thing that I really needed to do. Being able to develop a sales strategy. How do you become a trusted technical advisor? I keep saying it, understanding the key pain points, being empathetic to the customer, and then, acknowledging that you do have a way to go, right? And that resilience and building your character and being able to overcome these adversities as you go through your journey, kind of that sales acumen and moving from that technical advisor through to sales acumen and understanding the sales incentives of what the end customer needs, right? Their ultimate driver.
And were you self-taught or did you have the assistance of mentors or coaches?
I did. One of the things that I look back in my relationship with my immediate team and my wider, I would say, team, I did really have influential mentors. I wouldn't say they were mentors in the traditional sense where I was point to someone and say, you're my mentor. It was these ad hoc relationships that I would say, personally, I found them to be my mentors. Maybe they might not have seen me as a person that they were influencing that much. But from my side, they definitely influenced my career and trajectory. And I think definitely a number of people influenced me to go in one way. Either I saw their career and I said, I don't want to do that. And I saw other people that I admired and I said, I do want to do that. So it's a bit picking and choosing who you stay close to and which influences you take.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about the journey with Whisper in the intro, about taking that from A to Z. What kind of challenges did you face there and what were some of the highlights?
So I was at Whisper for about 9 years, or I think it was even 10 years, quite a while.
Yeah.
So from a very small company with about 30 people through to, being listed on the ASX. So from a small startup, scaling through to being a ASX listed company is quite a wild journey, being able to go through that. And I think it's really made my career because I learned quite a lot. I learned, again, resilience, understanding, how to talk to customers, understand how to work together as a team, and then ultimately in my career, how to lead a team. So all these different influences really impacted me in my career. I started there as a CSM, customer success manager, and I quickly moved into a pre-sales role once they saw something in me, which again, I would say was quite fortunate to me. They developed me into being a pre-sales solution architect, talking to customers, being able to pitch solutions, being quite deeply involved in the sales process is one thing that I really, really, I would encourage people to do. From someone looking outside in, you think sales is quite of a dark art, but it's not. There's quite a lot of meticulous thinking and understanding markets, understanding customers' needs. How do you address those needs? How do you be able to get the right way into a company to get to the right person that you need to talk to and ultimately pitch the solution. So we were in the sales process towards the end, but I would encourage people to get involved in the entire sales process. That's one thing that I would encourage people to do for sure.
Yeah. I kind of wish, in a way, that they taught sales in high school, because I think there are so many amazing skills for no matter where your career goes. Having had some exposure to a sales process as such just allows, I think, you to understand the way other people think. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's one thing that I learned. Sales is not just about, dollars and closing
Yeah.
big deals.
Yeah.
It's understanding people, how to influence people, understanding what are their drivers, how to address those drivers, and then, keeping that relationship alive and being able to call upon people when you need them and being able to help them, because in the end, that's what we're trying to do. Ultimately, everyone's trying to help each other
Yes.
into driving whatever they need to drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely agree. And so throughout your overall career, what valuable lessons have you learnt from your mistakes or fuck ups, as we say on this show, in your professional journey? What has helped shape where you are now?
Yeah. So I've made my fair share of mistakes or fuck ups in my journey for sure. First thing that I mentioned is kind of acknowledging the importance of, acknowledging mistakes, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't count my fuck ups as something that have negatively influenced me, but I'm kind of proud of the fact that you had these adversities to challenge you, right?
Yeah.
That these are the stories that kind of build your character and develop your resilience, right? So I've definitely had them. And if anything, I'd suggest to people out there to challenge yourself, and you can do amazing things that, once you kind of step out your comfort zone and you challenge yourself and you take them head on, I would say embrace them and, keep going, right? So one of the biggest challenges I would say is that, right? So being able to be learning how to be resilient and tackling adversity head on, which is, again, dealing with tough customer problems that just not require technical solutions, but also had the ability to explain these solutions to different audiences. Is definitely something that I had personally had to challenge myself on, and to be able to put myself in the mindset of customers.
Absolutely. Great advice. Thinking about personal influence now, how would you say your personal experiences and or upbringing helped shape your approach to your career and leadership?
Yeah. So this is another one that I'm quite passionate about. Coming from a family where my immigrant parents moved to Australia and worked incredibly hard their entire lives, really instilled the importance of aspiration and hard work to myself. Seeing their dedication showed me that, that perseverance and effort are kind of key to being able
Yes.
to, grow your career and develop yourself personally. Now, as a father of 3 boys, I hope I can pass those values on to my kids. And, I want them to understand the significance of hard work and the rewards that come with it. So, and it's influenced my life because, in these kind of leadership roles and my career, I've learned that becoming a good leader means that you need to listen to people, being open and honest about the challenges that you're going to face and how to address them and how to overcome them, right? Because the key isn't to do things for people, but to help them to do it themselves, right? Which is even harder when you think about it, right? It's easy to do something for someone, but it's hard to teach them to do it themselves. So it's about empowering these people and offering them the support and fostering their growth, just as my parents did to me.
Yeah, and just giving that trust that, it's okay if they do make a mistake, but give it a crack, eat the frog, as they say.
Sure. Yes.
And so how do you think that, or what are some ways in which you currently are starting to instill those values in the kids or in your team?
Yeah. One thing that I'm big on is kind of this emotional resilience, especially with my kids. It's one thing that parents will learn quite early on is it's okay to have feelings. It's just how you address those feelings, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be feeling frustrated. It's just how do you address these feelings? It's easy to lash out, to quit, to throw your hands up, but it's just another way of approaching a problem, right? It's about understanding your feelings, understanding how you can. It's really about understanding why you're feeling those feelings and understanding why you're taking these actions that you're taking. So you kind of take a deep breath and understanding what you're doing, and then you can move forward, right? So, and that ultimately flows on into business, right? Because we're all going to be feeling frustrated. We're all going to feel overwhelmed. We're going to feel angry. It's about taking a deep breath, taking yourself out of that moment, and taking an objective look about what your situation is, how to address it, and figure out the best outcome, really.
Yeah, I love that. Completely agree. How old are your kids?
So I've got 3 boys. So my eldest is about to turn 13 next month. Middle one is 10 and my youngest is 6. So Leonard, Benjamin and James, yeah.
Big emotional ages in all of those stages.
Three boys. Gotta love it, yep.
Yeah. I've got 2 kids and we took them recently to the movie Inside Out 2, and I actually love how that movie is done. Oh, so good. And lots of adult humour too for the the days that are yet to come.
Yeah. And again, one of the big what was the character called? Anxiety?
Yes.
Yes, that was anxiety and envy are definitely some feelings that we're going to have to address soon. My eldest is starting high school soon, so the kind of anxiety of moving into a bigger, wider world. I think he's good at the moment, but I think there will be challenges later on, and that's okay. It's part of growing up.
Yeah, it is. So what advice could you give someone who might be looking to break? You've had a really sound upbringing from our conversation and had some really good role models. But what about those who perhaps didn't? What advice would you give to someone looking to break a stigma or defy generational conditioning to further enhance their professional life?
Yeah, for sure. So all the topics that I've talked about can really be distilled into, first of all, believing in yourself and understanding of your own potential, right? I ultimately think that everyone has the ability to achieve what they want to achieve. And it's first being comfortable with yourself, right? It's okay to be coming from a disadvantaged background, from other difficult situations, and it's okay. And it's important to kind of recognize your limitations and that these limitations can be overcome, right? They don't have to define you. Right? So that's kind of the first fundamental level. You need to be comfortable with yourself and be be able to understand yourself. Second of all, I would say is to seek out mentors and role models who kind of inspire you and have these similar situations, because you don't have to go to someone and point to them and say, will you become my mentor? It's as simple as saying, hey, would you like to catch up for a coffee? Would you like to be able to, let's sit down and talk about it. I want to hear about your story. It's one thing about, sharing your own issues and things that you're worried about, but it's another thing to understand where someone else is coming from, because in that sharing of information, you'll be able to have your own inspiration. You can draw upon their, successes and failures, right? So, and then surround yourself with this supportive network, because it's another thing to, overcome all these challenges, and doing it by yourself. It's another thing to be able to do it with a supportive network, right? It's far easier, and they encourage your own growth, right? And another thing is to celebrate your successes. Far too many times, and I've been guilty of this too. You look back at your career and you kind of understand these pivotal moments, and you really didn't take the time to kind of celebrate your successes. So time moves very quickly. It's okay to take a deep breath and kind of recognize your achievements. It's one thing that it's a very fast moving world, and we all need to kind of take a bit of a pause every now and then and look back and to really admire all your own achievements, right? No matter how small these adversity you've had, it's just, celebrate your own success, right? Being able to recognize it, right? And you need to forge your own path.
Yeah, absolutely. And 9 times out of 10, when you actually look back and take the time to recognize, you've ticked off where you wanted to be. You just didn't realize that you got there because your goal moved, right? So
exactly.
It's very,
Yeah, you kind of look back and then you recognize all the kind of pivotal moments and the challenges you've overcome. But while you're in it, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. It just feels like a daily grind, or it feels like, just another day in a role, right? But you kind of look back at your life and you're like, oh shit, this is what I've done, right? And I think everyone needs to kind of look back at their life and admire what they've done.
Yeah, 100%. And so what final piece of advice would you give to our listeners who are looking to navigate either in their current professional journey, pivoting, changing, or making significant impacts in the field that they're currently in?
Yeah. Honestly, number one is to develop that thick skin and resilience, right? It's easy to look back and say, I just want to quit and throw my hands up and this is too hard. But to be able to find your inner strength, right? It's it's really something that I believe that people need to do. They need to, there was a bit of a interesting moment in my career where someone kind of put an award in front of me, and it was a cup of cement award, which had the sticker on there, have a cup of cement and harden the fuck up, right? Which was something that really needs to develop, right? And I think that it was interesting because pushing each other and being in that environment where you're supportive and you're challenging each other, I highly endorse it. Being able to recognize your own failures and being able to improve upon yourself is something that I really want people to do. And challenge yourself. You might not succeed, but to develop that thick skin, right, to improve yourself and move on with your career, and don't give up. Sounds cliche, but I really do.
No, I love that. And what's, I guess, one last question. What's the best part about your current role at WhiteFox? What do you love the most?
I get to control my own destiny. That's a big thing that I find. I didn't recognize how much of being in a corporate structure and having a lot of people around you that do different roles. That's something that I found a big difference, and I've really had to challenge myself into doing other things that I wasn't comfortable. Right? It's now being put into a situation where you're kind of running and operating a business, where you need to do things for yourself and be able to push yourself, and you can control your own destiny. It's one of the things you need to wake up in the morning and then basically choose what are you going to do today, right? And having that anxiety in you that you're never doing enough
Yeah.
to kind of tame that, because there's never enough hours in the day lying awake at night saying, why didn't I do more? And being able to temper that, right? Because in a corporate environment, working for someone else, your day could be as easy or as difficult you want it to be.
Yes.
But having a own business, it's all up to you. Right? And working and finding really good people and supporting yourself with them. That's another big thing that I've had to find myself. My team is really good, and I admire their hard work and resilience that they've shown for this, for sure.
Yeah. And it's humbling when people are putting in such hard work for you. That's probably one of the most amazing elements of running your own business, in my opinion.
It is, for sure.
Makes it all worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of customer or client could seek out WhiteFox, and how can they find you?
Yeah, for sure. So we predominantly work with fintechs and health tech. They're our kind of target markets at the moment, but we work with a broad range of different software startups and scale-ups that need software development skills. And yeah, I mean, essentially we work with anyone that needs software developers or needs a project completed. Feel free to look at LinkedIn and find us on WhiteFox.cloud, the website, WhiteFox.cloud, and then, yeah, drop me a line. I'd love to chat for sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Anastas. It's been great to learn from you, and you're full of amazing advice. So I have no doubt that both WhiteFox and also your 3 young boys are going to thrive. So thanks again.
Not a problem. Thank you again, Lara.
Thank you. Just going to stop the recording there.